Please welcome Global Chief Marketing Officer, Salesforce, Simon Mulcahy.
Good morning, London, and welcome to the Salesforce World Tour. I'm really excited to be here because we have got a rip-roaring bonanza fireworks display of activities over the course of this whole day for you. A keynote which is rammed with great customer stories, demos, some announcements from Salesforce. Also the opportunity for us to explain a little bit about Salesforce is seeing how we're seeing this rather amazing world. Now, I'm personally excited to be here. Obviously, being a Brit in San Francisco, I didn't get back here that much. But every time I come back, I'm just struck by just how much innovation there is bubbling away in the UK and in Ireland. And that's trailblazing, that's blazing trails. So you're going to hear a lot about that over the course of this keynote. You're going to see a lot of it over the course of this whole world tour. Many of you absolutely know what I'm talking about, but there's probably a large handful of you who are thinking, I have absolutely no idea what he just said. So let me just kind of level set here. A trailblazer, very, very important concept. This is anyone who's using Salesforce to change their career, as you saw with Gemma. It's to change the business that they're working in. It's to change the industry that they're in. And that is really kind of the hub of everything that we're going to be talking about, is how do we help you become trailblazers and even better trailblazers. Now, before I do that, I do want to do one very, very important thing, and that is pause and thank you. And I mean that quite genuinely, because frankly, all of this is only possible because of you. Without you, none of this would be here. So thank you all very much, our customers, our partners, and our employees. It's all of you together who are making this possible. Now, all of us are standing in front of something pretty interesting. This is a major change going on in the world right now. Major change. It's what the World Economic Forum calls the fourth industrial revolution. Now, maybe there's no real problem here. We've gone through 3 revolutions. We're still here. The first, the second, and the third took us from steam to electricity and into computing. Is just to keep calm and carry on. But there's something different about this fourth industrial revolution, and it is the sheer speed and impact that's hitting us all. Now, all of us know that this fourth industrial revolution is actually a major technology revolution, and we're seeing that every day. Just look at these new technologies that are now available at our fingertips: artificial intelligence, 3D printing, biotech, quantum computing. And all of these technologies are smashing the doors open to a whole new way of looking at our world, a whole new way of thinking about healthcare, education, frankly, even how we go to work and how we commute through autonomous vehicles. This is a whole new world. It's not just a technology revolution, though. This is a revolution that's impacting every corner of society. This is changing how we talk and engage with each other. It's changing politics and democracy. There's a social revolution going on. Trust and equality now are being completely turned around. This is now a major trust and equality revolution. And all of that is filtering into the world of business. And in the world of business, it's not just those factors. It's the fact that there's a customer revolution. Now the customer demands to be in the center. Now before, the difficult thing was building the product. And so if you could do that, you could win, because the customers would come and find you. With all of these technologies today, it's easier to build the product. It's much harder to get the customer. To win the customer in today's world, you have got to really understand them and engage with them on their terms. They walk out of a coffee shop having had a one-click Amazon experience, and then they walk into your physical or digital world. And maybe unfairly, but they demand exactly that same amazing experience. So the question to all of us here, are we ready? Are we all ready for this fourth industrial revolution? Are we ready for our customers? Now, the good news, actually, and we get to see this every day at Salesforce, there are hundreds of thousands of companies who completely get this revolution and are making amazing strides in this direction. It's in the automotive industry where Tesla, Aston Martin, Jaguar Land Rover here, completely changing the way they look at the world. Jaguar Land Rover rips up the old rule book and has got a whole new way of buying a car that blends physical and digital together. And it's not just the car, it's the wheels themselves. Those tires, Michelin tires, are connected to the internet via IoT. So they're constantly communicating with you and letting you know how they're doing. And IoT is part of the connected home. And that's why Centrica and Hive connected their thermostats so you can monitor them and engage them on your mobile phone. Marriott took the concept of the connected home and said, why don't we have connected hotel rooms? So now you can go from hotel room to hotel room, and using your mobile device, you can configure the exact hotel experience you want to have every time. This is a new world. The world of banking is completely changing. That connected home you want to buy? Fantastic. Go and get it through a Barclays mortgage. They've won awards for having the most engaging mortgage experience because they decided to reinvent it around the customer. Financial services is going through major change. I don't know if you know, but 78 of the top 100 fintech companies run on Salesforce. And that's part of a big revolution that's going on in the world of banking. BBVA, Santander, and all of these banks are all now looking at how they reinvent every day what that customer experience should be. So maybe the world is already moving at pace towards the fourth industrial revolution. The challenge is that's not the case everywhere. In fact, when you look at the facts, the majority of companies are still having some trouble figuring out exactly how to infuse all of these new fourth industrial revolution technologies into their customer experiences. And I get to see it through hundreds and hundreds of customer executive meetings every year. And here's what I hear. There's all of this amazing technology out there. I've got so much data, and so much of it is available to me, but how do I get my arms around it and then turn that into the experiences that my customers want? Now, the answer is, of course, you need some technology, you need to get that data. But there's something actually even more important, and that is, it's all about people. It's people in this room, at every level of the organization, who are the people who are going to drive this. It's trailblazers. And it's not necessarily the computer scientist, PhD, ninja, kung fu, computer whiz kid who's going to drive this revolution. It's the average person who deeply understands their business and wants to leverage powerful technology quickly. These are blazing the trail for the future. These are the customer innovators. These are the people who should disrupt the old way of thinking and usher in this new world. And honestly, this is exactly who Salesforce serves. If I could ask you to take away only one thing from the whole of today, it would be this quite simple fact. Salesforce empowers trailblazers. That's what we do. We have some technology, but everything is about putting you in the center of our universe. And you can see that when you look at our values. Here are our core 4 values in priority order. Trust, our most important value, because without trust, there is nothing. All of this evaporates instantly. Customer success, your success is our lifeblood. Innovation, because you want to run on the very latest technology, and it's up to us to deliver that to you through regular 3 times a year releases. And equality, because Salesforce is part of this fourth industrial revolution. And in this fourth industrial revolution, society has said equality is important, so it's important to us. Now, I want to come to trust first, and I'm going to also talk about equality. Now, we've had trust as our core primary value since we started 20 years ago. And there's 2 ways to think about trust. The first is Salesforce being a trustworthy company, earning your trust every single day. And that's why we put so much effort into transparency, into privacy and security, and into accountability. Now, the other way of thinking about trust is Salesforce enabling you to be trustworthy in front of your customers. And that's why I'm really excited to share with you just the sheer amount of effort that Salesforce has put into GDPR, empowering that into our platform to help you become closer to being GDPR compliant. Now, many of you may be rolling your eyes and going, GDPR, that's a compliance issue. Yes, it is a compliance issue, but it's much more important than that. This is a phenomenal opportunity for you to give your customers what they want. And your customers want They want to just have confidence and trust that when they give you their data, you're looking after it appropriately. Now, another foundational belief at Salesforce is that business is the greatest platform for change. And there's no sort of surprise then why equality wouldn't be one of our core values. Now, when I say equality, it's actually a very broad term, so let me kind of unpack it for you. It's public education, because a good education system provides a level playing field for everyone to learn the skills they need to live in this new world. I think in Europe, there's really, really good progress, but that is not the same across the whole world. So that's an area we look at globally. It's also about equal pay. And let's be honest, as a society, we've fumbled there. We have not created an environment where there's equal pay. There is not equal pay for equal work for women. And that is something that we personally feel is very, very important. We've addressed it the last 3 years. We've spent $9 million tackling the problem. But it's about equal rights and equal opportunity for everyone, irregardless of ethnicity, of gender, or any other factor. And it's also, let's not forget, the environment. Because you know what happens when there's a natural disaster? Who are the people that get impacted the most? It's those who've got the least. That's actually why I'm so excited that Salesforce is a neutral cloud. We run a carbon neutral cloud. So when you're using Salesforce, we're helping you mitigate your carbon footprint. Now, I say all of these things, but actually there's something even more important. We don't just talk about this, we walk that walk. And that's why since we were founded, we gave 1% of our time, that's 7 days a year of every employee in the company, 1% of our equity, and 1% of our products to nonprofits. And just look at these numbers. These numbers are insane. But what's actually even more amazing, much more amazing, we had actually no idea this was going to happen, was the number of companies who decided to follow us through the Pledge 1% movement. This year, there are now, right now, 5,000 organizations doing that. By the end of this year, there are going to be 6,000 organizations who are pledging 1%. This is amazing. And you know what I'm going to do now, don't you? For those of you who are nonprofits, or those of you who are contributing through the 1% movement, please can you stand up? Let's recognize you. This is amazing, your contribution. Thank you for making this world a better place. This is excellent. So all of this doing good is actually been a very, very important part of what's enabled Salesforce to do so well. And I've got to say, when I joined Salesforce, there were 2,500 people. This was 9 years ago. There are over 30,000 people now. We've smashed through $10 billion in revenue last year. We're well on our way to $20 billion. The most innovative company to work for, the innovator of the decade, the best place to work for in London, in Paris, in Dublin, in Sydney, and a lot of other places. In fact, Forbes announced that we were the best place to work in the world. Now, all of this is great. But there's a secret behind this success, and it's sat here in this room. It's you. Without you, none of this would have been possible. We're doing this together, and we're doing some crazy stuff together. We are the #1 CRM in the world. It's because of you, so thank you for helping us do this. Thank you for the fact that we're the #1 sales platform in the world. Thank you for the fact that we're the #1 customer service platform in the world and the #1 marketing platform in the world. Now, we get to see all of these statistics every single day. We get to see it in the sheer transaction volumes that just come through Salesforce. 5 billion transactions every day. 2 billion AI predictions every day through Einstein. That's 25,000 a second. 41 million service case interactions. That's 500 a second. And these numbers, they're impressive. But actually, maybe what's even more impressive is the growth of these numbers. And the growth of these numbers is actually part of a larger growth story. So what we did was we went out to IDC, a research firm, and we said, we have this Salesforce ecosystem. We'd like you to do some research on it. And here's what they came back and said. You don't have an ecosystem, you have an economy. By 2022, so in 3.5 years' time, you will generate, through this economy, 3.3 million new jobs, nearly $1 trillion of GDP impact. That is massive. That's a job engine. Today, 2 of the most in-demand, top 10 most in-demand jobs in the world, Salesforce skills. Salesforce administrator, Salesforce developer. There is job security for you immediately. And the impact here in the UK is just as impressive. It's going to be £100 billion of GDP impact, according to IDC, in the next 3.5 years. That's 300,000 jobs here in the UK. This is a big impact. And all of this is an amazing job story, an amazing job opportunity for everyone here, and a growth opportunity. And at the heart of it, again, are these trailblazers. These trailblazers who are doing so much. Now, at the heart of this trailblazer community are a very, very important group of people. These are people who are voted up by the really powerful Salesforce ecosystem, the Salesforce community here. They are voted up to be what we call MVPs. They are the pinnacle. These are the absolute ninjas of Salesforce. They don't work for Salesforce. We work for them, actually. And you know it. We know it, too. And we have some here, and I'm delighted to, if we could just ask the MVPs to stand up, please. It's an incredible community. Thank you so much for everything you're doing. This is an incredible thank you. And we also have Cheryl from New York, who flew over as well. Fantastic. Great to see you, Cheryl. So this is a community, by the way, I don't know if you know this. You can take a seat. That 98% of all questions that get asked to the community get answered in less than 24 hours. It's amazing what this group does. Now, there's another great example of this community, and that is an organization I really want to talk to you about. It's called Astrid. And Astrid creates jobs. It connects seriously ill people with job opportunities. Let's roll the film.
My journey started with backache, and it was the obligatory blood test and whatever that said there was something that suggested my body was fighting an infection, and sure enough, it was discovered I had cancer. There was this realization that actually, no, you've gone to stage 4, so there's nothing you can do. My professional career, as I knew it, was over. But life does go on. The choice I made was to be positive. I don't want to be known as David Shutt's cancer victim. I've still got so much I can do. You know, out of this situation then is born an idea.
Astrid is a people business. It's about connecting people who've got a long-term or chronic illness with real jobs. It's entirely the vision of my brother to give something back to people just like him.
It's about inclusion of people who need flexibility, but give them that and they'll give you it back 10 times over.
Astrid is very disruptive for the recruitment industry. It's about recognizing that there's a new way of doing business.
The backing of an organization like Salesforce allows us to be at the vanguard of that change.
We find a real willingness to engage from businesses. They get it, they understand it, and from the more progressive leaders, a recognition that this is absolutely a leadership issue.
There's a community of people that are getting bigger every single year by tens of thousands. Don't ignore what they have to offer. Astrid is the vehicle to go out there and expand your talent. The last 3 months has seen the charity go from one person to many, many, many people. And actually, we've won our first award as a recruitment industry charity of the year. You know, I've spent the last 6 months living and breathing Astrid. In that 6 months, my health has gone downhill, but actually my quality of life and the thing that spurs me on, which is Astrid, has been fantastic. That's the point of Astrid, and that's what the legacy of Astrid is all about.
What a powerful story. That's amazing. So David, unfortunately, couldn't make it here today, but I'm really, really excited that his brother, Steve Shutt, ladies and gentlemen. Great you could join us, Steve.
Thank you, Simon. Thank you.
Chairman of Astrid. Could you maybe share with us just David's idea for setting up Astrid?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the whole thing was born out of his personal experience. So I don't know whether people here know the story, but David was a career naval officer, military man, like yourself. But he rose to the rank of commander in the Royal Navy. He was recognized by the Queen. He was decorated with an OBE by the Queen for services to the Navy. And then went on to the world of business. He went into the commerce world. He rose to a position of regional manager. And then 10 days after his 50th birthday, he was diagnosed with cancer, with kidney cancer, which is a progressive cancer, and that's exactly what's happened. So in his words, he went from somebody who'd had a glittering career and was valuable to somebody who was suddenly valueless. And it was a real shock to his system and, of course, to all of those that knew him. He went online and he discovered that actually there are 100,000 people every year who get diagnosed with cancer just in the UK. Just cancer, just the UK. So think about that in this audience here. That's project managers, that's CIOs, that's lead tech developers.
Yeah.
It's people just like us who develop those issues. So he determined to do something about it because an enormous number of those people go back to their workplaces, and unless their employer is flexible enough to account for those issues, then they find themselves without a job or a very different job. A statistic, 57% of those 100,000 lose their jobs. So what he did was build a community, and we've got two elements to our community. We have on the one hand the long-term sick. We call them the invisible talent pool. The long-term sick who are desperate to get back to work, not just for money. They want to get back to work because there's a sense of pride, there's a sense of self-worth, there's a sense of routine, of normality, part of being a team. It's all those things that you want when you return to work. So that group of people is on the one hand are half of our community, and the other hand is the enlightened employers. And those enlightened employers are businesses like Salesforce and businesses in this room as well who recognize that when someone's gone through that process, as Gemma did here, lovely story, but as Gemma did as well, you've got to then think about how you make adaptations and change your business. So those are two parts of our community.
Fantastic. Well, it's a real honor that you were building the platform on Salesforce. And what can all of these enlightened individuals and companies here do to make we've gone forward. Can we go back a slide, please? Make Astrid even more successful?
Well, I think there are three things, as there usually are. The first is to participate. Everyone in here that's in a business, whether you run that business, own that business, or you're just a member of it, can register with Astrid. We can register you as an organization. We can do it today. It takes less than 5 minutes to register the business. Most important is that you then go on and register a role, because we want you to do that thinking as well. Yeah. But if you don't have a business and you can't register your own organization, then volunteering. Our whole platform is built around two things. It's built around the quality and the strength of the idea in the first place, David's original vision, and it's built around the volunteer efforts that have been made. So your 1 by 1 by 1 program is what has delivered the program, built the platform for us. That is a group of key resources from Salesforce, of course. One of your platinum partners, Cognizant, has now picked up the mantle, and they're providing the support that helps maintain the program. But we've also got a team of people, and they're in this room, and they'll be on the stand today, who've just volunteered their time because they're touched by the story. So volunteers are absolutely what we need, and anybody in this room who wants to get involved, please come and find us on the stand today, and we'll have a whole heap of jobs to do. So that's number one, is volunteering and participating. Number two is well, simply donating. We are run by volunteers. All the donations, all the money we've received has been entirely as a result of donations made by companies like yours and by individuals. And whether it's a small sum or a large sum, on the boards up here, you'll see our website address, astrid.org, and that's where you can make a donation. But if any large companies want to come and talk about being a founder partner, then I'd love to have that conversation as well, and we can do that today or elsewhere. And then the third thing is really, and I suppose talking to the leaders in this room, if you hire people, if you take on talent and development, you have an opportunity to help join this movement. You have an opportunity to change the way that things are done. We shouldn't have a diversity and inclusion policy. We shouldn't be forcing people to recruit from those pools. That should be part of the norm, just as you've said in your film. And what we would really like to see is a movement that we can start and we can kickstart and move on, which gets that to be part of the norm. And if we can achieve that, then we will have achieved David's legacy and we'll have achieved what Astrid and Salesforce together have tried to build.
Fantastic. Well, I'm sure on behalf of this whole community, thank you to David, thank you to you, and the team who's making this all possible. Thanks very much, Steve. Cheers. There are some amazing things happening on this Salesforce platform, and you had a sneak peek of the slide already, but to bring it back up, this is the slide that makes it all happen. This is the customer success platform for the fourth industrial revolution, for you to revolutionize your company, your career. And it starts by just being complete. This gives you every single touch point you need to engage the customer, to build that relationship, develop, nurture, and grow that relationship. This is how you put the customer in the center of your universe. It's not just complete, though. It's empowered, because you want people to use this in your organizations, and getting them to use anything new requires change management, requires them to learn stuff. Well, that's okay, because Trailhead is baked into this. Go to trailhead.com and start that learning journey immediately. Gamified, online, earn badges. It's fun. And there's some amazing things that can happen really quickly. It's also intelligent, because rather than add AI as a bolt-on on the side, we've infused it into the very core of the platform. That's what gives you these 2 billion AI predictions every day. It's also fast, though, because you want to build applications to transform customer experiences, but you want to do it quickly. And that's what the Lightning platform does. I could go on, but there's one thing that's missing from this slide. And the reason it's missing is it came up quickly. As we were going around and speaking to customers, as we do, and asking them, what should we be doing next? How should we be innovating on our platform? One thing came up loud and clear. We've got a lot of data, we've got a lot of services, a lot of legacy technology. We need that integrated into Salesforce. Make that possible for us. So we did. We went out and we spent the most money we've ever spent on an acquisition. And we closed, and you've probably heard about it in the news, some of you, we closed our acquisition of MuleSoft, which is an incredible organization. And MuleSoft promises us the Salesforce Integration Cloud. And using the MuleSoft Anypoint platform, that means that data, not just from inside Salesforce, that can come from your ERP, your HR systems, IoT, can all be gathered into Salesforce. We're making it easy for you to build an even more powerful total view and total engagement of the customer. Some other good news. We have some MuleSoft employees, Muleys, in the room today. Can the Muleys please stand up? There you go. A big hand for our new team. And welcome on behalf of Salesforce to the Salesforce Ohana. Great that you're joining us. And you're going to be impactful to everyone here in the room, I'm sure. Fantastic news. So there you have it. You've learned a lot about Salesforce. You've seen how we've got this platform. You've seen what our customers are already beginning to do with it. Now what I want to do is take you to the next level. We've got some great stories that will really unlock just what's truly possible here. You're going to hear about Ulster Bank and the amazing things they're doing here, and you're also going to hear about Adidas, but both amazing trailblazing companies.